We only need one more. We've got 5.
Okay. And I'm recording to the cloud, so we can share the video recording with a link relatively easily, and Hank can access it and add it to his collection. You all probably know that Hank is not with us today. He's tied up. I'm not sure the details, but he called me when soon after he had sent out the announcement and asked if I would host because he had a conflict. I think the transition to Hawaii had some hang up. I have no idea exactly why, but I trust it'll work. You might notice some subtle differences, but because we're using the Walkabout account with Zoom at the present time.
We're okay now. We have a quorum, so we're good.
Okay, so I'm going to call the meeting to order. And our guest today so far, Alice can make note of who is that other person that dropped in?
We have Barbara.
Barbara, and of course, Miriam is our treasurer. I thought I saw somebody else pop in and pop
It's
out.
just Dan. It's just Dan and Barbara.
Okay, but there was somebody that popped into the Zoom meeting and then popped out again. Anyway, moving forward, agenda changes. I hope I'm reading the same agenda that I provided to you. I did some work on the agenda after I sent it out. And if my reading of the agenda differs, suck it up.
We'll let you know.
All right. All
I
right.
move that we accept as presented.
All right, thank you.
Second.
Minutes of the previous board meeting. Are there any adjustments to the minutes of the previous board meeting?
I move we accept the minutes as presented.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor of the motion, aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you all. Moving on to the president's report. The one thing I wanted to note is, I hadn't mentioned it before, we do have a tentative acceptance of the position as secretary in David McCall, but he is off in Australia at the present time and cannot be with us today. But I'm going to accept that he has accepted that position and propose that he be added to the elections item 9.2 and swap position with Alice, who will run for board director at large. And I also have a oh, there he is, right on cue. Just as I was about to introduce Willie, who many of you may know, and he has tentatively agreed to come on the board as doing PR. So
That's great.
Great.
When he unmutes, he can accept or deny that, but I trust that he will do it. And I don't have him down as a current member unless my information is incorrect.
I'm not a member.
All right. Hopefully you can join us before. I don't know how we can handle this, if we can accept you as a board member before you're a member. We'll deal with that down in the agenda. Will, do you have any comment other than your membership report, which will be later in the agenda?
No, I don't. I just have one question. Barbara Wilkinson, I thought she resigned from the board, but that is not true.
She did resign for the board. Barbara?
Not on the board.
Oh, no, I'm not on the board. I did resign.
Yes, okay.
Some time ago.
Yeah,
That's
Yes.
been open for a while. Since last spring.
right.
Okay.
No, I have nothing other than the membership report.
All right, thank you. Program report, Hank is now with us. Programs have been going along very well. I think we're actually being as effective, if not more effective, as a Zoom meeting than we were as an in-person meeting. Treasurer's report. Miriam, would you like to make your treasurer's report?
I will. Not much activity. We had one check that cleared, which I had written to the California Secretary of State because I had made a mistake and they sent it back. But it got caught. This was quite a mess. I sent all this stuff in the spring and they didn't deal with it until much later. And then they let me know late and everything. So I was late. And so they cashed the $20 check. But I don't feel too bad because I paid for the postage to get everything in and I sent it priority mail. So I don't feel bad. And I hope you won't get back at me for having made the mistake. In the email, which I failed to print out, Alice, is the beginning and ending balances which differ by the $20.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I saw that. That's fine. I've got it right here in front of me.
Yeah. I printed out the cash flow by month, as I always do, and the net worth by year. Every quarter I'll do that. That's my version of the quote Hank Drayton report. And he seems to be happy with it. He's not here today, so.
And I can tell you that the ending balance at the end of September was $4,836.24.
Yeah, that sounds
Whom it may
right.
concern.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, if I may make a quick side comment about the quote Hank Drayton report. I sort of objected to that report being called the Hank Drayton report because I thought that was simply a balanced report, which is a normal treasurer's presentation. And so I must admit I was the one that suggested that we not call it the Hank Drayton report. Yeah. He never said anything about it, but I hope I didn't offend him.
I would agree with that, Stan.
Yeah, I just wanted, because most of us are familiar with that term, I wanted to say that's what its purpose is.
Yeah.
It's not called that on the report at all.
Right.
It's called net worth by year, basically.
Okay.
I move
Okay.
that we accept the treasurer's report as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain? Thank you for passing the motion.
Miriam, just one comment. I'm still holding that check for 64 cents. I don't know that we want to do anything with it.
Well, it doesn't pay to spend 50 cents or whatever postage is now 55 cents to get it to me. And we should start having some checks. I know we'll have a lot of PayPal renewals, but we may get some paper checks, and in that case, send it with that. And let's
Okay.
hope it's not over 6 months, because I think the banks don't take stuff that's older than 6 months.
Okay.
All right, moving forward, Will, would you like to report on membership?
Sure. Let me just bring up share the screen and bring up the report, which is here. And the answer is, we really haven't had any changes since last time. We still have 43 active members, of which 9 are life members. We have had 4 new members this year. And there's still 12 people that haven't re-upped from last year. Any
Clearly not
questions I can answer? Otherwise, I will stop sharing.
All right, thank you. Now the big item for the day is you'll notice we need to do elections. Saul checked our bylaws and noticed that there's a paragraph there, Article 8, nominations and elections. And it seems we are technically out of compliance at the present time. And I would like to take that up now. It says that the nominating committee should be 3 people. I had presumed that it was Alice and Will, and I did not include a 3rd person.
Well, and that was the ones that we did it last year, but we haven't had 3 for the last 5 or 6 years. So we've not been in compliance for some time. But
All right.
I thought maybe for this year we might need a new committee, but I'm just running out of time.
I think we just need to move forward with the present committee.
I agree.
And so insofar as the secretary position being vacant in the new year, and David McCall, who's currently a director at large, being willing to take that position, although he is not present today to accept that nomination. I wonder where we are parliamentary procedure wise. Does anybody have an observation?
What we've done in the past was I'm probably the one that misguided you for September, but if we present the slate as it looks like it will be, then it's next month that we can vote on it. But I don't think that there's any question. We don't have too many contenders. But I think what you've already presented is accurate, and we can go forward with that.
And he has agreed to take that position.
And I've talked to David myself, and I'm confident that that's going to go forward.
Okay.
And I'm happy to do the director at large. So, and Willie is accepting the PR. So that's the slate right there. Will, our job is done.
I question whether Willie can be nominated for a position when he's not currently a member. I think we might be able to take care of this next month. Saul, do you have a comment?
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
I think there's no urgency here.
Right.
And I think a person ought to be a member of the group in order to serve on the board.
So the nominating committee will present it as an open office, and then next month we can put him in.
Can I ask what it takes to become a member? Is it just sending the $15?
Yep.
Correct.
Yep. I can
It's
get that.
easiest if you go online to our website, and at that point you can just pay through PayPal.
Would somebody like to go online now and then share that window? Well, Willie, why don't you try and see if you can do it? I found it challenging to subscribe through the website, but we'll just presume that can be taken care of.
I think Willie's pretty savvy. And if
Okay.
he has
And
a
I don't wanna-
problem,
and
he can let us know.
Yeah.
And I
will
have a
send
little
it.
bit of a time crunch, so I don't want to take the time to do that right now.
All right, very good.
I have a question. For board members at large, we will be adding Willie. Do we need to delete one other, or
No, because David was on a director. at large,
David
and
was already?
David and I are just switching positions.
Excuse me, Will, he's filling the vacancy for VP of PR. It's already a vacant
Oh, it's
position.
already vacant.
Oh,
Yeah,
Willie
okay.
is, yeah.
That explains
No.
it. Thank you.
Yes, it's already vacant.
If he chooses to accept.
All right, so I understand that the secretary can submit a slate and we vote on it now. Is that correct?
Correct.
Next month, I thought.
I
No,
thought it
no,
was next month also.
it says if there's only a single candidate nominated for all given offices, the motion may be entertained for election by acclamation without further action.
So I would like Alice to clarify the slate of officers and make a motion to accept them as elected.
Now, do you want me to
Present it.
include, do you want me to include Willie or is mark that today?
No.
Okay, then what we're gonna have is we'll have President Stan Folis. And I've just got these down in here, and then Will Wakely as Vice President. And Hank Drayton, Vice President of Programs. Alice King is going to be on Director at Large. Marion Davis, Treasurer. Ray Schlater, Director at Large. Arlene Wade, Director at Large. David McCall, Secretary. Jim Faguchi, Director at Large, and Saul Schumer as Director at Large. And then we will not include Willie today.
Right. Okay,
Well,
so
should we just delay the vote until next month?
no,
I think
Really?
we should. I think we should, because we should vote on a full slate.
well, we could be in compliance with the bylaws if we vote today.
Okay,
And we
we'll
do,
do it.
this is an open meeting. We do have non-board members attending. And it was announced as a board meeting to all members. So I consider this an open meeting. And if anyone wants to contest the proposed slate or propose someone else for an office, they are free to speak now.
Or forever
and-
hold your peace.
Well, no,
I know.
But anyway, if there are no additions to the slate, I believe we can vote now for that slate.
Just one question. So for Willie, we will vote next month for him.
Yes, we'll
Yes,
just add him as a
Okay.
position next month.
All right,
I move that we accept as presented.
I second.
all right, and you're accepting the slate of officers as presented.
Correct.
All of those in favor of the slate of officers as presented, say aye.
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 Those opposed, say nay. Those abstaining, say abstaining. The motion carries unanimously, and we have a slate of officers elected for 2023. Thank you very much. All right, moving forward. Hank wanted to talk about Wesley Palms, and I have a brief report that I don't think was submitted at the last time. But I did call Wesley Palms and tried to get in touch with Tanya, that's her name. Tanya has the title of Life Enrichment, or in charge of life enrichment. And I called her and asked for about their Tuesday Q&A program. And I was trying to offer a SCG representative to be a expert or a consulting person. And basically, she really wasn't interested in having any more people coming in that would need to be passed through their COVID test procedure. And so did not ask for any assistance for their Tuesday Q&A that is ongoing. And I asked her, how are things going with the Q&A? And she was pretty vague about it. So I can't say, anyway, we were not invited to offer expertise. I was not suggesting that we come back and be there, all our members and such. So anyway, that's where that's standing. And so anyway, I see Hank is now on board with a raised hand. I will allow him to speak. We can't hear you.
There, now I'm unmuted. I'm not used to being one of the masses here. I'm getting on a plane in a couple of hours, but I've got a little time before I go. And I gather you were just speaking about the possibilities of going back to Wesley Palms. Was that right?
Correct.
Yes. Okay, I'd like to put before the board, maybe for a vote, but maybe just for a sort of a sense of the group, my idea, which is that we should quit trying to get back to Wesley Palms, except don't tell Wesley Palms that because we don't want to lose our storage. But I don't see any advantage. It means we have to have a hybrid meeting, which is harder to do than what we're doing now. And I don't see, the only other option is, or the only other benefit theoretically is that people who are in Wesley Palms and don't sign up to come to the meeting when they are given the notice that we're meeting would be able to just walk in the auditorium and get some benefit from it. But we're being touted at Wesley Palms every week by their weekly notice. And I think that's the way we ought to leave it, because it gets a lot harder. And I think I would be, if I'm still programs guy, I think I'd bear the weight of most of that on my shoulders of trying to make a hybrid meeting work. Does anyone, I see some nodding heads. Anybody want
I agree with you totally, Hank. Absolutely.
I also
think
agree.
because we have people that can't come, and I know I won't come to Wesley Palms. So, I mean, and to try to do both, I think it's too cumbersome.
So 2 points. I think it's moot because we're not allowed to go there anyway right now.
Right, right.
And number 2, we'd have to get insurance if we did.
That's right.
Agreed. Another reason not to leap in that direction. Okay, I've said my piece and I gather there's a lot of agreement. Thank you very much, Stan.
All right, thank you. To carry on about my conversation with Tanya, I intentively did not mention anything about our storage. I simply let that sleeping dog sleep. And so we have stuff there. I don't think there are any records of any significance other than what we have. If anyone is aware of records that we need, not just records that may be there, but we don't have any real need for them. I'm not concerned with records that we do not have a need for. The only thing that is there that other than that, there's a couple of old computers and a printer. So I don't think it's a great loss just to keep it in storage there. And when they want to do something with it, they will contact us, I trust, and we will deal with it at the time.
I agree.
Agree.
Okay, moving forward. Any new business to present before the board? Okay. Director at large comments. Ray Slater, do you have any observations you'd like to make? I think you just, he's occupied otherwise. Arlene, do you have comments?
Nothing special at this time.
Okay, David McCall is not present. Jim he's not present. And Saul, do you have any observation?
Nope.
Okay, our next meeting will be November 12th. And I presume we'll be back with APSUG hosting the meeting. And moving forward, I declare the meeting adjourned at
10:55.
10:55. Thank you all for being here. And since Hank is out, Will, would you like to carry on with the Q&A?
Yes, however, Ray is back. Did you want?
Hank is here. Hank, would you like to do who's
No.
hosting the Q&A?
Yeah, well, anybody have a question?
I think Will's point is Ray may be available to ask him if he had anything to comment on, Stan.
Yep.
Among the directors at large.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ray, do you have any comment as director at large?
I see a shaking of a head.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay. We'll presume no. And moving forward, okay. Back to you, Hank, or Will, or whoever wants it.
Well, anybody have any computer questions that they would like to present?
I have something that I don't want to present. I just want to throw it out for somebody to do if I don't get to it or can't get to it, depending on how this next month goes for me. One of our members, I should know who it was. It might be Barbara. Asked some questions a while back about how do I get rid of all this stuff on my computer because I want to give it away or I want to donate it to somebody, but I don't want to donate it with all my stuff on it. I think that is it's a more common than you would think question that people have to deal with maybe once in their life, or sometimes if they have more than one computer and they want to donate them or they're upgrading and want to get rid of an old one. I think that's worth a presentation, and I hope somebody like Will or maybe Ross. Ross is holding up his hand. He answered her questions before about how to do that. There's a particular program for transferring all the stuff off your computer before you erase it, and that's one of the vital things in this process. So I hope someone will develop that program if I don't. Thank you. Dan.
Dan.
And there he is.
If you donate your computer to Computers to Kids, they promise to eliminate everything on it and install a new operating system. That's one way to do it.
Barbara?
Yeah, I'm going to be donating my computers to San Diego Futures, and they distribute them, and they do erase anything that's on the computer. I did get a lot of help from Ross in transferring over, and I did send a reply to you, Hank.
I saw it.
Oh, okay. Okay,
That's what stirred me to say this morning was your reply.
Okay, the one program I had problems with, I use Ace Money in order to keep track of my expenses and my bank accounts and stuff. And when I tried to bring it up on my replacement computer, my desktop, it kept asking for a computer they didn't term it a password. It was called a computer name or something. And boy, I keyed in everything. I couldn't get through. And
What's the name of the program?
Ace Money, ACE Money. And I did contact their health place, and they were really good. They said, well, send us a copy, which I did, of the program I'm trying to access. And they'll search for what the password should be. So they just sent me an answer back this morning with the password. And their recommendation was for anybody that uses that program, where am I? If moving, okay. I go to tools, options, and passwords and click on permit access to multiple users. And that way I would have no trouble using it on another computer. And that might apply to other programs too, I'm not sure. But anyway, I've been working, so I'm quite happy about it.
I have a question for Ross. I use Quicken for what Barbara's talking about. Do you have any pros and cons of ACE versus Quicken?
So I don't know anything about ACE. So to say it's better than Quicken, there's no way for me to do that.
Okay, thanks.
The only comment I'll really make is though it's with Quicken, it's better to remove the password before you try to move to a different computer.
Yeah.
Because I got into a problem once where I moved everything over, couldn't bring it up, and then did not have access to the old computer. So if you can remove the password from your old programs first, then transfer everything over and then bring it back up. When you bring files into a computer, there are ways for it to know it came from a different computer and lock you out because it did come from a different computer. What hers is doing is, again, it was saying that on the old computer, it had this username, and on the new computer, you're logging in with a different username. So it was having trouble with that, or computer name. And again, they're just trying to, with their security, make sure that your information doesn't go away.
Yeah, the only problem with the ACE Money, the free version that I get, ACE Money Lite, you're only allowed 2 accounts, 2 bank accounts. So it's, you know, it's kind of restricted, and I have given thought to changing over to Quicken or another program. So I don't know whether I will or not. I do have another question though. On my email, I use Yahoo as my predominant email, but I have a couple of emails listed and they have a little red danger signal next to them, which says not synced. And I don't quite know how to sync them.
The email itself is not synced, or is the contact?
The listing, the email, the email name.
Or an email address, you mean?
Yeah, my email, ones that I have, my addresses. I have 2 or 3 there that are not synced. In fact, yeah.
I would have you go in and look at those contacts and see if it just isn't a name and say telephone number, that there's actually an email address in it. It may be letting you know that it can't sync it, because if it looks like everything's okay, I would either have you print or copy out somehow, just delete that contact and re-enter it in.
Okay. How do I delete a contact on my contact list?
In what program?
Well, this is in Yahoo.
You got, I understand so in Yahoo, you'll have to find out. It should be an option there. Under options is like when you say to create a contact, there should be also a way to delete a contact.
Delete
I
it.
tell you, I mention this every time we talk about email addresses or who the email provider is, that I would strongly recommend that people get to Gmail. All the companies are trying to get rid of their email systems, and they're quirky and have problems. I would recommend that you get to a Gmail. We can put in Gmail your old email address. So Gmail goes out and gets the email from the old account. You don't have to turn it off. You don't have to tell everybody that your email address has changed. You can, but they start to see it if you start using the new one, that here's the new email address that you use.
Okay.
It solves a lot of problems.
Okay. Yeah.
Barbara, are you sure you want to delete your contacts?
Well, I
We're
have
talking about
contacts,
a couple contacts, Will, not the whole list.
not the whole list.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you wanted to get rid of the whole list. Yeah, okay.
No, just a few that have died or moved, or, you know, we don't keep in contact with anymore. Okay, I do have a Gmail account, and I keep kind of cussing myself for not using it more. But I will look into just having my other accounts automatically go to Yahoo, go to Gmail. And,
Right.
try and do that. Okay, thank you, Ross.
Barbara, the name of that company that you're donating is Futures Foundation.
Futures, something like that, yeah.
San Diego Futures Foundation.
I'm wondering, is that something we might consider donating our computers that we have stored at Wesley Palms when the time comes?
Yes, I endorse San Diego Futures Foundation. I purchased a 28-inch monitor for Walkabout through them for $40. That seems to work. They do provide a service. They have a facility, and so they are a viable nonprofit organization.
They are.
There is
Yeah, they
another
are.
one called Computers for Kids, I believe. I've
Yeah.
That's
donated
what
to
Dan
them.
mentioned.
Dan mentioned. Yeah, the San Diego Futures are involved in education too, because I know they put on technical assistance programs at some of the seniors centers. I know they do at the park, whatever it is.
Park de la Cruz.
There it is. I can never remember the whole name. Yeah, they do there. I haven't attended them or been to them. They do offer, as I said, educational programs too. Okay, thank you.
Observation on Barbara's Ace Cash Express. I just Googled it, and they do have storefronts. And there are 3 of them in San Diego, which is an interesting concept. Okay, it's not sharing. Anyway, and the other thing is I recommend Quicken. I've used them over the years, and I do have my frustrations with Quicken, but overall, their tech support is better than almost anybody else that I've come across.
You are sharing your screen, Stan. You're just not
Oh,
sharing a web browser within it.
There it is. I just Googled Ace Money, and here's Ace Cash Express, 3 different locations. So they do have storefronts. Maybe you can get support there directly one-on-one. I don't know.
Yeah.
That looks like a quick loan place.
Yeah,
Not the program that she's speaking of. Stan.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's Ace Money Light is the one that, anyway, but I'm going to check out Quicken and probably convert it. Is there any way that a person can split their screen, like on my PC, if I'm working on something? Is there any way I can split my screen so I can see 2 different screens?
Sure.
Yes, I think if you minimize the screen, it will show up smaller, and you can move that off to one side and open the other program and minimize that also. And it will, by minimize, I mean go to the intermediate.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Whatever that's called.
Yeah.
I wish there were a name for that.
Okay.
I think it's like tiling the program windows.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'll try it. I'll play with it. Thank you.
Other questions, comments? Hank, are you still on? Apparently not.
Hank has left the building.
Okay. And I think he was still in Hawaii waiting to come back. Is that correct?
Other direction.
I think he was in San Diego and he left to catch a flight to Hawaii.
Okay, Willie's got his hand up.
Yeah, Willie.
Yeah, I just had a comment. I was recently prompted by Windows to upgrade to a newer version of Windows 11. I have Windows 11 and they call it 22H2. It took about 3 hours to actually download the program, and it works in the background, so it wasn't too bad. via Wi-Fi. And then it took about an hour to actually install once it was downloaded. And that you require your computer to be on and just sitting off to the side, but just to let people know, anybody that has Win 11, it has some actually good features. They've gone back and done some things that look like Windows 10, so you don't have to get frustrated with going from 10 to 11. This new version of 11 looks more like 10.
And what advantages did you find over
I have
10?
not found any yet. I was having problems with conflicting programs, and I was hoping that would cure it, but I don't want to recreate my problem to find out that it didn't help. So, and you know, it's interesting because it's based on last week's demonstration of OneNote. Okay, I have Office 365, which includes OneNote, and I downloaded the OneNote, or I installed the OneNote, if you want to call it that. It's already on my machine, but I never activated it before. I activated it, and all of a sudden my Excel spreadsheets weren't working properly. But I didn't know there was a correlation. It wasn't until I uninstalled OneNote that my spreadsheets were working fine again. So they're both Microsoft products. I don't understand. I don't even want to find out. I never used OneNote before, and now I've uninstalled it.
Do you think it's specific to Windows 11?
I don't know. I never used it when I had 10, and I went online right after that to try and find if there's any chatter about it.
Yeah.
Couldn't find anything.
I've used OneNote in the past, probably in the last, probably a year ago, and I had no problems with Excel.
Well, my problem was specific to running macros, and it was just a certain macro command
okay.
that was causing Windows. It would just crash Excel. It wouldn't crash Windows. It would crash Excel. It would just get out of whatever program I'm in. I'd lose all the stuff I had been working on. So it was very frustrating. So
You need to be very careful that if you're running, if you're signing on with a Microsoft account and you're using the Office 365, that what is on your computer is the current version from Office 365, not an older version. Especially in Excel, they do handle and give you additional features through Office 365 that you don't get from a product key version of the program. And I would check to make sure your OneNote and OneDrive and all the rest of those things are all under the same Microsoft account, not different accounts. That can cause various problems too.
yeah, I kind of made sure that was the case because, again, the 365 comes as a bundle and it gets upgraded weekly. I get upgrades of my 365 Office programs weekly.
But
I'm on a beta version and insider track and all weird stuff. So they experiment with my stuff. So I can't vouch for anything. And I was hesitant to even involve Microsoft in this discussion because they really don't. They'll just say, well, you're on the beta version, go back to the commercial version. And I don't want to because I like the beta version. It's trial and error stuff, but they'll put things on and it'll last a week and then they'll take it off.
Yeah.
It was just interesting. The only correlation I made was when I uninstalled. I actually had to go in and uninstall OneNote, and everything worked fine after that.
I would hesitate to tell everybody to make sure to not restart your computer in the middle of an upgrade. If it seems like it's running really slow, but it's doing an upgrade and you turn it off again, you can really mess things up. Be patient, go somewhere else, leave it alone, come back the next day, whatever you need to do to let it finish up doing what it needs to do.
I agree.
I got a notification from PayPal last week that Microsoft was charging me $300+ for the online version of Windows, which I had not agreed to. And I don't know, it didn't seem to be a scam. It just seemed that somehow Microsoft thought I should be renewing a Windows 95. However, I have not had that for over a year. So I just canceled it.
PayPal.
No problem.
There's not an online version of Windows that you have to pay for. It's a scam.
No, this was Windows 395 or 365. I mean,
Well, then somewhere along the line, you said it was okay. But
And
it
I
should
do
be
not
$300.
recall ever doing that. So
Well,
anyway,
then-
it got canceled, but I was just surprised that, and it was an official request from Microsoft to do that.
Nope. I beg to differ, sir. I would bet you find that it's a scam completely. And I see those all the time.
Yeah, not to
And they're-
mention that Office 365 is $100 a year for the home version.
Yeah, like for 5 users, and you
Right.
wouldn't even have
Yeah.
that.
I get 5 devices and 6 family members, and it's great. I mean, I just like the subscription because my kids use it, my wife uses it.
Okay, my question then is, how did they get to PayPal to put in that charge?
Will, if you're willing to show us the email that reported this and we can see the from address and see if it's legitimate, we can continue this conversation.
I don't think it's available. It may be available. I'll look.
So you just really, 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 really need to be careful on any requests for money out of your accounts. It's more than likely a scam.
I'm just
But no, it
curious as
looks
how,
good.
how they got to PayPal.
I'm not, what we're trying to say is through Saul is I'm very surprised would be also if it actually came from PayPal. It may tell you it's from PayPal, but it is not.
Will, I can send you an email that looks like it came from PayPal, but
Sure.
it didn't. It would have come from me.
Right.
Yeah, I'll take a look at it again.
So never trust, always verify.
Okay, other problems that we need to discuss? It's only 11:15. If not, I
I
guess,
think Joan was trying to say something, but she's muted. Joan, were you trying to get in here? You're muted.
Just give her a moment.
No, I wasn't, Sam. I don't know. I was doing something else at the same time as I was listening. But no, I wasn't trying to say anything.
My
But anyway,
apologies.
sorry I missed my walkabout yesterday, but it was such a beautiful day down here. It was a temperature of almost 70 in New Brunswick. And so we went out to the cottage at the lake and enjoyed ourselves. Today it's back to 40.
Enjoy them when they come.
Thanks, Dan.
You're welcome.
just a interesting comment on climate. I saw a chart that showed San Diego temperature over the last 20 years, and it went from in the middle 50s up to 57, I believe, as the average temperature. And I calculated it would take 428 more years to get up to 72. So I guess I don't have to worry right now.
Well, Scripps has been tracking this for hundreds of thousands of years, and they may differ with that. It's going up exponentially compared to prior centuries.
Is that on the Scripps website?
Believe so.
Yeah. Willie?
Yeah, I just wanted to make a comment to Barbara, because I know she's in one of Mary's classes with me in the Android class, but the next class coming up on Windows, if you're in the class that starts in December or January, or maybe it's in December, it's a 4-week class, but it's on Windows 10. And she'll show you how to split the screens and stuff. She goes into great detail of splitting screens in both Windows 10 and Windows 11.
Okay, thank you. I'll check that out.
If you can hold tight until that comes up, or I can
Oh, yeah, I can, I
show
can.
you offline.
I'd be more concerned in my Android phone at the present time. But I'll check that out because Mary's quite good. I enjoy her classes. Okay.
Okay, Stan, I guess you're in charge now.
Okay, it's my practice when hosting Zoom meetings is I never hang up until everybody else is out. That's a practice I would like to see more often, because quite often a lot of information is exchanged with the few people that remain. So anyway, you're welcome to pass out, log out, and welcome back next week for the regular Q&A of the seniors computer group.
Thank you, Stanley. You have a good.
Thanks, Stan.
Thank you.
Bye. I'll be in San Diego next week.
Oh, good. Welcome back to
Andy's leaving and
paradise.
I'm coming.
All right.
All right. Bye, Stan.
Bye-bye.
Well, I have a question regarding this, this public relations position that I
Sure.
was asked to look at or to be involved with. I noticed that it had 43 members were official members. Where are the other, 35 of them? If the 15 of us are here.
Not everybody comes into the Zoom meeting, and we welcome members and we welcome non-members to visit our Zoom meeting. So, what was the question again?
Well, it's regarding with public relations. I mean, if I'm going to go out and try and attract membership and the members aren't even being involved with the, the group, it seems kind of fruitless except for the $15 fees to attract members. If you say, come to my meeting, but there's only going to be 15 of us here.
Well, my impression is the value of the meeting is to the people that attend, it is irrelevant how many people attend.
Right. I'm
And,
looking at the people who aren't
and
here, how
so,
you can attract them to be part of the meeting.
Yeah, so I feel that we're offering a service that I don't see in many other places around. I'm sure there are other Zoom meetings that are this type of Q&A, but I'm not particularly familiar with them. And I think we offer a service to people who have at least reached a minimum level of the ability to manage a Zoom meeting, whether it's on their computer or their phone, to offer them a way to expand that. Now, the fact that we don't have many members, the point you're trying to make is, why aren't more of the members attending? And all I can say is they're welcome to attend. They get a weekly notice, a reminder of what the topic is, and they are free to join in. But 41 people are members. That means they renewed. It's an annual, subscription. So they were interested enough to renew. Just some of them don't bother to attend. Anybody else can pitch in on this too.
I don't know if it's relevant to Willie's question, but I would say in all of the nonprofit organizations I've ever belonged to, the vast majority of members do not attend the meetings when they were in person.
I guess that from, again, public relations point of view, do we want more people to attend meetings? Do we want to fill up our screens with little tiny squares, or do we like the more intimate conversations? It's, if I go into this position, I'd like to know what if I go to talk to a group and say, yeah, it's a great group, they're very interactive and they talk, but there's only 15 of us that all talk about the same stuff every time. Or do I say it's a very diverse group that covers from, one end of the spectrum to the other? I've only been involved with it for a month, so I really don't know what the history is. But I'd be glad to relate it publicly, however you guys would like.
I feel the more the merrier, and we all come from different perspectives and we learn stuff from one another. So I think the more people is better than fewer.
No, I agree with that. The concept is how to get more people, or if, I mean, when you guys were working at it, I was never involved with the Wesley Palm stuff, but that was more of a social gathering. And I assume that people came there for the cookies and coffee and whatnot, but
There were presentations every week.
right, but
Yeah.
going strictly to Zoom now, it's a might be a whole different demographic.
And a
Well,
Q&A.
No, actually, I think these Zoom meetings are very typical of what we were presenting in person. Because we, as Saul pointed out, we all quite often had a program and somebody got up and made a pitch, much like the YouTube presentations that we've seen on the Zoom meetings. And then they opened it up to Q&A from the floor. And it's much like the Q&A that we have here at the Zoom. So it's very analogous to our meetings at Wesley Palms. The cookies and coffee was not a major draw, I don't think. But I think that we provide a service, and I'd just like to see more people benefit. More the merrier, I think. Joan, do you see value to this meeting from the other end of Canada?
Oh, yes, quite definitely. I've learned quite a bit. And like I said, no matter what, like right now, it's so interesting. There's so many things that you can do with technology. But unless you do it, the same thing over and over and over, like I'm doing something simple right now while I'm listening, I'm making up a newsletter and for the community. And even the simplest little thing, if I haven't done it for a while, it takes me a while to do it. So learning and refreshing all the time really helps me anyway.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about, Canada is a perfect example of what I was trying to get at is it worth trying to grab people from outside the community? Because again, Wesley Palms is a geographic constraint to people at times. Now we don't have any geographic constraint. We can reach out to Britain if we want.
Well, that's right. I would like to reach out. There's no reason to keep this geocentric to San Diego. It isn't geocentric to, well, it is, but there's no reason for it to continue to be. So your oyster is the world, Willie.
And who was the last PR person?
Yeah, gentlemen, let me say something here that maybe not everyone's aware of. There are two of us right now in Canada, but the reason that we're on this is because we have been members of Walkabout International with Stan and Saul for years, and then we found out about this. So there was a direct connection between San Diego and us because of Walkabout.
So the point being that if you go through other groups, you might attract new members.
Right. And I see like to me, that's the PR part of it, is expanding out to different groups that exactly that. I don't know anything about Walkabout, but I'd certainly like to, Stan and you obviously have the connections in Joan, but I have other connections. Like I was saying last week, I don't walk at all, so I have a problem. I can roll about, but I'm pretty much stuck at home.
Yeah, Willie, how can you be in San Diego and not part of Walkabout?
Yeah, I've never heard of it. Anyway,
Dan has his virtual hand up.
I think the problem is the presentations have deteriorated considerably from when the group first started, or when computer groups first started, I should say. Because at that time, you had a bunch of different small companies that were willing to send out representatives and give away free software and so on and so forth. And now Microsoft's taken over all the software virtually. And You know, there's nobody running around doing those things anymore, and we don't have a meeting place to hold one of those anyway. So that's what we're fighting. And
Well,
I don't know the answer.
yeah, that's one of the big problems of the future of computer user groups. To me, I was just talking about this with a friend of mine who's a self-admitted dinosaur. In other words, he's 96. He has never used personal computers. He does not use them, does not use email. And there's a lot of people around like that. And the only people that attend user groups are people like him, but have started using computers and find that they still need help. The younger people find it anachronistic that you go to a group of people to talk about computers, because most of the younger people simply don't see the problem. Why should I go to a meeting when I can understand everything I need to? It's a different demographic. And as I see it, as we dinosaurs are dying out, and the user groups are going to die out with us. There will not be user groups, but for me, I see a value in it.
Well, I've belonged to at least 4 user groups in the past, and all of them are gone except this one.
Well, I'm with you. I can't name 4, but I can name 3.
They're still around.
Actually, no. Oh, no, they're not around anymore. Actually, I guess I could name 4. PRS-80 user group, IBM and Compatibles user group, San Diego Computer Society, and the Senior Computer Group. That's 4 that I've been connected with.
I think the only one left now is you, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was never a member of that one.
And there might be others, but ones perhaps that are specific to particular topics that I'm not interested in.
To answer Willie's question, it's open. In other words, wherever he feels that we need to get the word out, he's welcome to go for it.
And I would say the one constraint would be time zones.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've dealt with that all the way from Eastern Canada to Hawaii, so we've managed to overcome that problem.
If you're heading down to Australia or somewhere beyond.
Yeah, that might be a problem. So you have to stick to the Western Hemisphere.
Yeah, but then again, that still comes back down to the people that come here. We're maybe 3 hours difference, but I don't care if it's a person in Japan.
If we hit
If the guy doesn't show up to the Zoom meetings, what good is it? I don't understand that. 43 people and only 15 show up.
If we handle foreign money, like $10.
Dan is asking if we can process foreign currency for members.
Oh, yeah, Joan had that experience. She pays with Canadian dollars and gets a conversion. How much, Joan, how did you pay for dues?
I tried PayPal and I think they made me go straight through with Visa.
But you were able to do it without insurmountable problems. Yeah, we had a foreign currency.
Did I hear you say you take
They just
Venmo?
converted.
Yeah, we're still recording. I haven't stopped.
I don't believe so, Willie. Willie asked if we take Venmo, and I don't believe we're set up for that.
Account, so
No, just real money.
yeah,
Venmo is real.
I'm not going to get into it anyway.
It's not Bitcoin, is it?
No.
Oh, no, it's just a payment processor.
Oh, no. Yeah, no. We go through PayPal and that allows us to accept credit cards. And that makes it available to international currency. And we are still recording. And also the transcript is going. If anyone wants a transcript, they can click on live transcript, and then down at the bottom of that image, you can save the transcript as a text file, and it will have more or less everything that's said.
Stan, I think you could stop the recording as far as the SCG is concerned, because if you're going to share this with Hank, it doesn't need to keep getting bigger.
Yeah, good point. I'll do that.